Hey guys, Justin Morgan here. I've talked to you guys several times now over the last 3 months about where poor sources of information, why I wouldn't trust certain sources to give good information on certain topics. But last week I was listening to Coach Glenn Pendlay. If you're not familiar with him, he's written some good stuff. He's worth checking into. He's coached a lot of national Olympic weightlifters into the nationals. A lot of Olympic weightlifters into the nationals. And by merit of his success as a coach, I would say he's a pretty good source of information, pretty good source, pretty good guy to go to for training advice. If you want to be an elite level weightlifter, you at least need to start somewhere, and starting with following the advice of people that have coached athletes into elite level athletics is a pretty good option. But he was making a great point that I think is extremely important for us to understand, and that is he was dogging some of these forums that you can go to and talk and discuss things, and people get on there and have stuff to say, and I loved what he was saying, because he was making the same point that you've seen me making a ton of videos, and that is that those places are horrible sources of information. In fact, you can almost guarantee that if you go to any forum, whether it be on Facebook or some popular website, and maybe not your general Facebook page, but those group places that you can go to, and you ask a question, at least half of them are going to be bad information. So the majority of what you see is going to be poor sources. So what he recommended doing, which I thought was a great idea, is to find a coach, find somebody that you admire that has legitimate success in training drug-free athletes, and just go to them directly and ask. He said he gets lots of emails from people, every month, and he'll respond to most of them and give the people good advice. And I thought that is incredible. And it was compounded with me and Mike Velocity last week went up to the Arnold Classic, and we went up to Ed Cohn, the powerlifter. Look him up. Ed Cohn, great source of information. And, he's not necessarily a drug-free athlete. I think, in his day they had certain stacks of drugs they used, and I don't know what all that is. But I know he doesn't make any claims about being drug-free or anything crazy like that. But at the same time, he was very forthright about giving advice. Mike asked him, what are some things I could do to improve my deadlift? I have a lot of rounding over in my upper back, and Ed Cohn's like, you need to strengthen your upper back. You need to be doing some bent over rows and that kind of thing. And so I mean, these people are very forthright in giving advice. They're not like secretive, hiding this kind of hiding anything. They're there to help out, and they love the sport. They want to give information. Now, I think where you may get into some danger is, if someone has primarily built themselves up based on using drugs, then obviously they may not be a great source of information. I don't even think that just because someone used drugs and got really strong, they definitely trained. They trained hard. I'm not saying they didn't, but the acute variables in their training is going to be much different than somebody who has never used drugs. So my advice in general would be, go seek out someone that you are confident could give you good information. Derek Tresize, or however you say that guy's last name, I know he's on Facebook and a few other things. He's a good example of a vegan, drug-free bodybuilder. And I think he offers a lot of good advice. He writes articles at the veganbodybuilding.com page. And he seems like a good source of information. I agree with much of what he has to say. And, you know, I'm sure that you could think of others. You know, if you're in this world and you're aware of who's out there, just go directly and ask the people. Most people are more than willing to give information. So, that's just my thoughts for today. You guys take it easy. Hope you're doing well.